Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Logan City. Welcome to another riveting session for the City Infrastructure Committee for the 29th of September 2020. I declare this meeting open at 9:26 a.m. I would like to advise meeting attendees that this meeting is being audio recorded, and just for general public information, Office 365 is down worldwide and we're having major problems, but never let it be said Logan City doesn't proceed in a timely fashion. We're going ahead with our committees. So I'd like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we're gathered and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Now, I do note that all councillors are present apart from Councillor Russell. Councillor Russell has requested a leave of absence and I move that her absence be recorded. Councillor Karansky is seconding that. May I have a show of hands? All those in favour? That's unanimously carried. Just for the recording, we do have some learner drivers in the committee secretariat today, so we're just going to go slowly with some of our items. Item 4.1, Standalone Curb and Channel Rehabilitation Program, Statement of Intent. I refer to item 4.1. Can the Road and Infrastructure Planning Manager, Mr. Ranawira, please enter the discussions? But before we open the discussion on this item, do any councillors have a conflict of interest to declare? There being none, I now refer to the Manager to open public discussion. Mr. Ranawira, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is a curb and channeling rehabilitation works that we do. This is about that. In the past, before 2018, we carried out curb and channeling rehabilitation along with the road pavement rehabilitation. So if the section of a road pavement needs curb and channeling to be replaced due to its bad condition, we do that in that fashion. But that leaves alone some of the curb and channeling outside of the pavement rehabilitation. So in 2018, Council gave more additional funds, about 1.5 million per annum, to do curb and channeling outside of pavement rehabilitation program. Curb and channeling is an important part, integral part for road pavement, because if it fails, the water gets into the pavement, the pavement will get damaged as well. And it actually serves as a drainage path as well. So without going very detailed into the selection of this thing, I can tell that the requests that we received for previously as complaints or requests, we tabulated them in a data sheet or database, and we also looked at the imagery that we do in terms of that we have recently collected, in other words, in terms of doing condition surveys. So that imagery was subjected to a certain program, and it identifies some of the cracks and differential settlements of curb and channeling. And then it doesn't mean that that curb is bad in those sections, but we had to go and inspect each and every section that highlighted through that imagery triggers. So we did all that exercise. We came up with a program of 15 projects, and those 15 projects are either through imagery, inspecting the imagery or requests, and that 15 projects probably will take us to another 2 years worth of work. That's 3 to 4 million worth of work, in other words. So the estimation is really difficult, and it explains in the report how difficult the estimation is, because there could be so many different things that we had to expect when you look at the curb and channel rehabilitation. That's all outlined in the report. So I think the resolution or the recommendation is there. That's probably all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranawira. I'll now open the floor to councillors for discussion. Councillor Stem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'm just trying to get an understanding of the defect severity kind of line in terms of why is slight medium severity ahead of medium high severity? I just want to get an understanding of how that sort of is scheduled, please.
Yeah, I think there is for the ease of our multi-criteria analysis, we had to come up with some sort of criteria for severity. So our guys goes and check the cracks, whether the cracks are really big or they've settled down, or the curb and channeling has settled. Those kind of things are the prompters for severity. So
Okay.
scores, yeah.
So if something's high, that's not more of a priority than medium high? I'm just sort of trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean, if the curb and channeling is really shattered in terms of falling apart some pieces, and there's settlement, or the cracks are too big, we need to replace, then it's a higher priority, higher score. That's right.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Wilcox.
Thanks. Through the chair, so how many resident requests have there been to rehabilitate, I guess, these curb and channeling?
So the 15 is outlined here, sections are outlined here, but there are curb and channeling repairs that we are going to undertake as part of the pavement rehabilitation as well. So that's not here. We actually excluded them. I haven't got all the figures here, but we have excluded that. We identified we still have to do standalone curb and channeling repairs, 15 sections.
Okay, because I've noticed here that it says the precincts considered include Beenleigh, Browns Plains, Jimboomba, Logan Central, Logan Village, Logan Home, Logan Lee, Park Ridge, Shayla Park, Springwood and Daisy Hill. Yet on this, all you basically see is Woodridge, Logan Home, Shayla Park, pretty much all in the central Logan area. Yet there's none in the outlying areas.
No, that's true, because what we looked at is the data, the imagery on those areas. We may not have found a project in those areas. That's the reason.
I just noticed that when I was campaigning, pretty much every second person that I spoke to, because we don't have a lot of curb and channeling, were like, hey, can we get curb and channeling? Because every time it rains, it floods into my yard and it washes away my driveway, or, you know, it floods away my garden and stuff like that. Yet we sort of keep getting left at the wayside.
This is not new curb and channeling program. This is a rehabilitation of curb and channeling, existing curb and channeling. So,
No, I realise that.
Yeah.
But the fact is we still have pretty much zip out where we are. You know, and you can drive into the areas and there's none, yet we continually have the grass program getting done, whereas if we had, I don't even need curb and channeling, but if we had the concrete edging on our roads, we wouldn't need the grass program. We wouldn't need to have our roads keep getting redone because they fall away. You know, surely that should be, not encouraged, but surely that should be also looked at in the rehab program so that we're not constantly rehabilitating roads such as Newbeath Road, Pub Lane, Spring Mountain Drive, Bushman Drive, Greenbank Road and Scotts Lane that continually fall away at the wayside, that literally just don't have a concrete edge on the edge of these roads so that they don't fall away.
Is that something that we want to look at
There
it
is a
in a
separate
different
program for new curb and channeling, so that has to be looked in that program. This is about keeping the existing curb and channeling repaired and good condition.
Councillor Wilcox, would you like for a future committee to have that report brought forward?
I think it'd be good, yeah. You know, as you say, it's an important part of our roads to have the curb and channeling done.
I'll just...
Yeah, driving through the acreage lots, there's just nothing there, and the roads that constantly need improving, it just makes sense.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Chair.
just a moment. Mr Director,
Yeah,
would you like to add your comments?
Yeah, thanks through the chair. What is being prepared as a briefing session we're presenting the statements of intent for all 12 of the programs, which includes the new curb and channel program as well. So that will be presented to a council briefing session in the very near future.
Okay.
So that will cover all 12 of the divisions. So there will be rehabilitation for all 12 of new curb and channeling.
The 12 there, sorry, the 12 related to the actual 12 statements of intent, which are the 12 categories of road. So for new curb and channel, for example, there's a statement of intent that covers that, and there's a program for new curb and channel, which is included, and a prioritisation process will be included in that briefing.
Are you happy with that, Councillor Wilcox? Councillor Kerensky.
Thank you. I think you've largely touched on where I was going with this. My understanding is this particular report actually looks at existing curbing and channelling, and I was intrigued to see all the areas that we reviewed because, as Councillor Wilcox said, in our electorates we have so little curbing and channelling that came as no surprise that there were no projects that came up for Division 4 as part of this. I would like, if you don't mind, when we're bringing a workshop back to Council, that we actually reflect upon back in, I think, 2016, when Council actually made a decision to increase the curbing and channelling program across the city, and additional funds were allocated to that program. And recently I spoke with officers about one particular bugbear I have in the Logan Village area, which was on a 10-year program, and 4 years on, it hasn't advanced at all. It still sits back on the 10-year program. So I think that we really need to have that workshop with an eye to how we're going to advance some of these projects, because throwing more money at it and waiting 4 years meant it still sat in the same place of the queue and it hasn't moved a spot. Independently, I caught up with the federal member recently, and I took him down to that area in Logan Village because there's a number of complaints about what's happening in Story Road, and showed him around what was down there. As we know, we've had federal government funding come forward for the area in around Canterbury College, and I asked if there was potential to do something in and around the school precinct in Logan Village, and he said, well, can council show me some planning and then we can have a talk about funding. So with a view to that occurring, I would welcome investigations progressing in Logan Village.
Thanks, Councillor Kerensky. I'm sure that the manager will take that on board and bring that to a future meeting. Councillor Bradley?
Yeah, thank you so much. I do understand that this is rehabilitation, and what Councillor Wilcox was referring to was discussed last round, and my understanding a briefing session is going to be held for all the programs. I probably have a very similar sort of scenario in that I don't have curbing in some streets in Springwood, and the edges do fall away as well, and that particular street is 30 years away from having the curbing. So I welcome that report to come forward, and possibly extra funding to come forward as well.
Thanks very much. Are there any other councillors that want to comment on this or raise issues? There being none. So is there a motion in relation to this? Okay,
On page 4, I'm happy to move it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bradley has moved the motion. Councillor Kerensky has seconded. All those in favour? That's unanimously carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ranawira. Does anyone have any... Pardon me. Councillor Wilcox, you didn't vote. Naughty.
I'll
What
abstain
would you like to
on
do?
that one, thanks.
You would like to what?
Abstain.
Abstain. Fair enough. Thank you very much.
When you do get curb and channel, we're not going to rehab it.
That is so well picked up by the ladies from the services team who are on their L plates, as I am, so thank you very much. Okay, so does anyone have any questions for Mr. Ranawira?
Any general business? I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, we have, that's the end of the Road Infrastructure Manager's report, so would you like to raise that now, Councillor Bradley?
Thank you so much. I did speak offline with the manager that I'd received complaints about a number of streets in Rochedale South where driveways and rectification to footpaths did not occur during the recent M1, M3 gateway merge upgrade. And so the houses have been removed, but the driveways and the footpaths are actually being left there, and work has happened over that infrastructure, and obviously we've got a number of uneven sort of footpaths as a result. And the streets involved are Roseland Avenue, Chamberlain Avenue, Narrawong Street, Karoonda Crescent, Anna Marie Street in Rochedale South. A complaint was sent to the state member a number of months ago, and last week I've received the reply in relation to that basically the DTMR were not going to remove the driveways and rectification of the footpath along these streets, as the money wasn't part of the scope of the M1, M3 gateway merge upgrade project, and now it is the responsibility of Logan City Council to maintain those particular matters. The constituent wasn't very happy with that response, and so I'm asking if it's possible that a letter be written to DTMR expressing concern about this, that it's now council's responsibility for something that they should have rectified during their project. Is that possible?
Mr.
at all? Do I
Ranawira?
need a council resolution, or is it just a letter okay?
I could write a letter. I'll come and talk to you about the properties, exact properties,
Okay.
specifics. And if you can highlight the specific, that would be better in the letter. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy with that.
Thanks, Councillor Bradley. I would just like to raise an issue in general business. Mr. Ranawira, Beanley Road at Underwood has seen a substantial increase in traffic volumes as new houses have come online, both in Logan and Brisbane City Council. The local residents there have contacted me in relation to, widening the road in terms of 2 lanes each way. So I have had discussions with you offline, but I'd like to move that the Roads and Infrastructure Planning Manager be requested to prepare a report in relation to traffic safety and capacity issues on Beanley Road Underwood between Millers Road and Logan Road for a future committee. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Bradley? Thank you very much. All those in favour? Raising your hands. I just note that Councillor Murphy is absent.
over there.
Oh, no, there she is. She's in the corner coughing, raising her hand. So that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much, councillors. Does anyone else have any business for the Roads Planning Manager? Does anyone have any business for the Director? Wow, that being the case, that completes our agenda for today, and I declare the City Infrastructure Committee meeting of 29 September 2020 concluded at 9:43 a.m. Thank you very much.